Thor vanished in a blaze of hellfire. When he returned, his eyes were burning red. Ghost Rider wasn't just riding anymore, he was wielding Mjolnir. The Avengers called it a rescue. But Captain America called it what it was, a possession. Iron Man's suit cracked under one swing of Thor's cursed hammer. Wolverine tried to stop him, and nearly lost his soul. Because this wasn't Thor anymore, this was vengeance incarnate. Thor was the first to charge into the fire. The sky over New Mexico had been tearing itself apart for 3 hours. Crimson lightning split the clouds, and the wind tasted like ash and blood. Something was trying to force its way through. Not from space, not from time, from beneath. Hell was rising, and Thor wasn't about to let it step foot on Midgard. The Avengers stood back as the god of thunder leapt into the swirling vortex. Banner had warned him. Strange had begged him to wait. Even Wanda muttered that the magic felt wrong. But Thor only smiled. "If there are demons at the gates," he said, "they'll meet a god at the door." Then he vanished into the storm. They expected an explosion. They expected the wind to collapse. They expected something, anything. But there was only silence. The clouds calmed. The earth stopped shaking. The lightning died. And Thor was gone. At first, they thought it was a teleport, some kind of magical recoil. But even Heimdall, far in the afterlife, did not answer. The Bifrost hadn't opened. No signature from his hammer. No energy spike. No body. Thor wasn't missing. He was erased. Days turned to weeks. Strange scoured every realm. Wanda tried to reach his aura. Banner even dug into interdimensional quantum signatures, looking for remnants of Asgardian life force. Nothing. No pulse. No whisper. Just the memory of thunder. The Avengers grew quiet. Cap started holding strategy meetings again. Tony threw himself back into R&D, but his eyes never left the sky. Hulk became darker. Something had broken in the team, and deep down everyone knew they'd lost a god. Until the sky opened again, 3 weeks after Thor disappeared. It happened in Manhattan. Stark Tower's sensors screamed first, a dimensional rift ripping open above the Hudson. Not just energy, heat, ancient heat, hellfire. Wanda was the first to say it. That's not Thor. But what emerged looked like him. Tall, broad, lightning crackling around him. Mjolnir in one hand. But everything else, wrong. His cape was tattered and burned at the ends. His armor was darker, jagged, almost scorched into him. His eyes, not blue, but burning red. And worst of all, Mjolnir wasn't shining. It was smoking. He landed with enough force to crack the street. Civilians ran. Iron Man shot into the sky within seconds. Cap was already moving. Banner didn't even wait. He turned mid-run. What they were facing wasn't Thor. But it wasn't just a demon either. He stood up slowly, twisting his neck like he'd just woken up from a dream. His mouth curled into a grin that did not belong to the god of thunder. Then he spoke, voice layered with 2 tones, deep, regal, and underneath, a growl like burning chains. "You left your god in hell. Now hell answers back." Stark hit him first. A full repulsor barrage. Straight to the chest. It didn't move him. Not an inch. Then Mjolnir rose. The hammer, wreathed in black flames, launched forward, not thrown guided. It hit Iron Man mid-flight, shattering half his chest plate and sending him crashing through 3 buildings before he stopped moving. Cap called for backup. Strange opened a portal, but was knocked back by a scream. Not sound, but soul fire. A shock wave of agony that twisted the air itself. This thing, this fusion, it wasn't just Thor under demonic influence. It was Thor possessed, and not by just any demon, by the spirit of vengeance. Doctor Strange realized it too late. He tried to cast a containment rune, but the fire wrapped around his hands mid-spell. His magic ignited, burning backwards. Wanda yanked him out before his body broke, but the look in her eyes told them everything. This was not a possession. This was a merge. Thor's body, Ghost Rider's soul, a union of wrath and lightning. The Avengers faced gods before, but never one that judged them. That night, The world watched as the possessed Thor walked into the New York sanctum. He burned the wards like tissue paper, and inside, written across the walls in scorched Norse runes, was a message: "You are not worthy." Then he vanished. The world reacted fast. News dubbed him Hell Thor. The Avengers debated lockdown protocols. Stark, alive but half limping in armor, called it what it was: a walking extinction-level event. Cap wanted to reason with him. Strange said it wasn't Thor anymore. Hulk didn't say a word, but deep down they all felt it. Ghost Rider wasn't taking Thor over. Thor had let him in. Why? Why would the Prince of Asgard allow himself to be consumed by vengeance? Why didn't he fight back? The answer wasn't in their tech, or in their spells, or in their strategy. It was still out there, waiting and burning. For days he didn't speak. He just appeared. Once hovering over Wakanda, another time standing at the gates of Latveria, staring down Doctor Doom, and then again hovering outside the ruins of Sokovia, watching a monument burn. Each time he said nothing, left nothing, caused no destruction, no casualties. But wherever he went, one thing remained behind: the mark of vengeance. A symbol burned into stone, metal, or sky, not drawn, seared. A flaming hammer surrounded by a chain, and under it one word: judgment. The world started to panic. Leaders called emergency summits. S.H.I.E.L.D. moved satellites. The Illuminati debated intervention. But none of it mattered, because the next place he appeared was inside the Avengers Compound. No alarms were triggered. No heat signatures detected him. One moment, the room was empty. The next, he was standing in front of Tony Stark's private vault, the place where the most dangerous tech, artifacts, and weapons were locked away. He wasn't interested in any of it. He walked past suits, past arc reactors, past Stark's secured scrolls. His burning red eyes locked onto one thing: the Ultron skull. He picked it up, looked into its dead, metal eyes, then crushed it into ash with his bare hand. By the time the Avengers arrived, it was too late. He was waiting for them in the courtyard, hammer in one hand, burning chain in the other. The ground hissed beneath his boots. The sky dimmed. Cap stepped forward, shield raised, voice calm. "Thor," he said, "if you're in there, we can help." The figure tilted his head. "You already helped," he growled. "You helped kill him." Lightning cracked the sky as he slammed Mjolnir into the ground. Not the familiar blue thunder of Asgard. This was black, veined with red flame, twisting like smoke in water. The blast flung Cap backward into a wall. Armor cracked. Blood spilled. Wanda screamed and launched a hex bolt. He caught it midair with his chain and snapped it back at her, warping her spell into something dark. Her body hit the dirt, eyes wide, unconscious. Banner roared and transformed, Hulk charging, massive, furious. But this wasn't the Thor Hulk used to spar with. This wasn't even the Ghost Rider Hulk had fought once in Nevada. This was both, and it was ready. Mjolnir moved like a bullet, smashing Hulk's knee and dropping the green giant mid-charge. Then the chain coiled around his neck like a serpent, lifting him, burning into his skin. Ghost Rider's voice echoed through the compound, louder than thunder. "You rage without purpose. You destroy without guilt. Tell me, Beast, do you feel remorse?" Hulk choked, eyes bulging, and for the first time ever, Hulk was afraid. Doctor Strange finally arrived, breathless, bleeding from a portal wound. He threw up a mirror dimension to isolate the battlefield. Everything froze in crystalline reflection. The sky, the fire, the broken bodies. Strange floated above them, hands glowing. "Thor, if you can hear me, fight it. You're stronger than this." But the voice that responded wasn't Thor's. It was pure flame and chain. He begged to stay. Mjolnir clashed with Strange's shield in midair, throwing sparks like a supernova. The Sorcerer Supreme dodged left, then right, opening time-warping rifts to redirect attacks. But this fusion, this Hell Thor, adapted. His flames reached through spells. His hammer ignored gravity. And the chain? It obeyed thoughts. It wrapped around Strange mid-cast and ripped him out of the air, slamming him into the mirrored ground so hard the dimension shattered. Reality bent. The fight returned to Earth with a thunderclap. The Avengers were down. Only one voice remained, digital, coming from above. Deploying protocol, celestial firewall. It was Tony, still injured, still recovering, but ready. From the clouds above, a massive satellite ignited, beaming down a ring of pure energy around Ghost Rider Thor. A red-white field of vibrating particles, EMP pulses, dimensional containment. Stark's most classified weapon. It was made to hold a rogue celestial for 4.5 seconds. It held Thor for 6, long enough for Tony to drop in manually, using the new MK-13 armor, not for power, but for soul detection. Every sensor tuned to Thor's spiritual signature. He landed hard, plasma cannons ready, and looked straight at his former friend. "Thor, if you're still in there, I'm sorry." The figure blinked, just once, then whispered, "So am I." The fire disappeared. Mjolnir dropped to the ground. The chains crumbled. For a breath, just one, they saw Thor. Just Thor. Eyes wide, hands shaking, mouth trembling. He looked around at the ruins, the bodies of his friends, and the flames he couldn't remember setting. I let him in," he muttered. "I thought I could control it. I thought I could use the fire to find the souls Mephisto took." Cap staggered up, blood in his mouth. "What souls?" Thor's eyes met his. "All of ours." Then the sky turned black. Not night, not clouds. Smoke. Hellfire smoke. And through it a laugh. Low, cruel, ancient. From the smoke, a face emerged, skull, horned, crowned in burning thorns. Mephisto, hovering above the battlefield, smiling, triumphant. "Thank you for delivering him, my rider." Thor's body jerked violently, chains snapping back into place, eyes igniting again, and in one final scream, half god, half demon, he rose into the air, consumed by flame. The spirit of vengeance was back in control, but now it served someone worse. The war was no longer about control. It was about salvation, and the Avengers just lost their strongest weapon to hell itself. The sky didn't turn red. It turned silent. The kind of silence that weighs on your bones, the quiet before the fire, the hush before a scream. Every news channel tried to frame it. Global magnetic shift. Localized solar anomaly. Spiritual interference event. But those inside the radius knew the truth. It wasn't the weather. It wasn't science. It was judgment. Ghost Rider Thor didn't attack cities. He judged them. He hovered over London for 5 minutes. Said nothing. Did nothing. But when he left, every known corrupt official in MI6 was gone. Vaporized. Not a mark left. Just ash. Their homes untouched. Their names burned into the ground in flaming Norse script. Next was Dubai, a diamond tower owned by a war profiteer who supplied both Hydra and Stark during the early days, exploded into a spiral of fire. No one else armed, just him. One man, gone. Then came Moscow, Seoul, Berlin, Chicago. One by one, he circled the world, not as a god, but as a sentence. He wasn't killing randomly. He wasn't raging. He was punishing. The Avengers tried to predict his next move. Strange couldn't trace his portals. The Hellfire paths bent time. Stark couldn't lock a heat signature. Even the Watcher went silent. But someone else had been watching. Deep beneath Krakoa, in a vault even the X-Men didn't talk about, Logan sharpened a blade older than vibranium. It wasn't adamantium. It was something else, a gift from a warlock who once tried to curse him. The blade could slice through spells, through vengeance, through fire. Logan didn't care about punishment or prophecies. He cared about one thing. Thor was hurting people, and that meant he had to be stopped. Wolverine didn't call the team. He didn't ask permission. He tracked Thor to Greenland, an ancient ruin where Odin once banished a frost giant with a name too dangerous to speak. And there, standing among shattered stone and echoing wind, was Ghost Rider Thor, staring into a broken mirror, watching himself burn. "You still in there?" Logan asked. No answer, Because if not, I'm about to bury whatever's left. Still no answer, until the chain lashed out like a whip of living flame. Logan dodged barely. His arm was already burning. He smiled. Guess that means fight. Wolverine was fast, but Thor was faster. Logan's blade cut through the first swing of the chain. Sparks flew. He ducked a hammer, strike that could have flattened a tank. He moved like a beast, like instinct. His claws tore into Thor's side, and fire exploded from the wound. Not blood, not muscle, just hell. He kept going. He didn't stop, even when the flames started eating his skin, even when his healing factor slowed, even when his nerves started screaming. Because somewhere in those eyes, behind the fire, he saw regret. And Logan doesn't stop until he gets to the truth. The fight lasted 13 minutes. The world saw none of it. But when it ended, Logan wasn't dead. He was kneeling, arm broken, eyes bleeding from soul fire, but still breathing, still fighting. Thor stood over him, hammer raised, but didn't swing. He trembled. Then, for the first time since New Mexico, Thor spoke in his own voice. "Tell them, I didn't know." Logan blacked out. When he woke, he was in a cave. His wounds were wrapped in moss that shimmered with Asgardian energy. Thor was gone. The fire was out. But burned into the cave wall were words in flame. "He still watches. He's still inside me. But I am watching too. Tell them, Mephisto wants judgment, but I want truth." Logan stumbled out of the cave and made one call. To Charles. To Steve. To everyone. Because if Thor was still in there, fighting, then maybe, just maybe, they could bring him back. But they weren't the only ones watching. In the shadows of Limbo, Mephisto sat on a throne of screaming metal, watching through Thor's eyes. And next to him, bound in chains made of guilt and sin, was Thor's soul. Still screaming, still resisting, still unbroken. For now, the next target was personal. Avengers Mountain, formerly a celestial corpse. It had become a sanctuary. But to Mephisto, it was a symbol of hubris. Man playing God. Heroes rewriting justice. Ghost Rider Thor didn't appear at the gates. He walked through them. No alarms, no resistance, just fear. Vision tried first. A logic-based blast. Thor shattered his core with one chain throw. Falcon swooped next. Fast, precise, missiles locked. Thor redirected the wings with his mind, sent him spiraling into the ocean. Even Carol arrived from orbit, glowing like a star. She landed a punch that shook the entire Arctic. Thor stood up, wiped blood from his lip, and whispered, "You're not worthy of the power you carry." Then dropped Mjolnir, but it didn't hit the ground. It hovered, spinning, burning, becoming something else, a symbol. And then, without touching it, Thor raised his hand, and Mjolnir split into 7 flaming shards, each shaped like a chain-link spear. They shot in 7 directions, to 7 locations, 7 people, 7 judgments, each one chosen, each one marked. And one of them was Steve Rogers. Back in New York, Steve looked to the sky. A flaming chain spear stopped above his head, hovering like a halo. It didn't strike. It simply whispered, "Prepare," and vanished. The world wasn't under attack anymore. It was under trial. And Ghost Rider Thor was no longer hunting. He was building something. A court. A reckoning. A final day of fire. And when it came, there'd be no jury. Only vengeance. The 7 spears didn't vanish. They burrowed. Into reality. Into memory. Into soul. Each one wasn't just a weapon. It was a message, a trigger, a lock. Across the multiverse, across time and spirit. They opened doors no one had touched in eons. And at the center of it all, trapped, screaming, burning, was Thor's soul. Mephisto didn't keep him in chains. That was too kind, too human. He kept him inside a moment, a single memory, repeating over and over again. The last time Thor failed, the death of Loki. In this looping prison, Thor watched it happen thousands of times. Loki dying, alone, afraid, by Thor's hand, by someone else's, by no one at all. Each version changed. But one thing remained constant. Thor couldn't save him. That was the furnace. That was the forge. Not to torture Thor, but to break him. To make him believe the fire was justice. That vengeance was clarity. That wrath was truth. And it almost worked. Until a hand reached in from the outside. Not divine. Not demonic. Mutant. Logan didn't ask Strange. He didn't ask Charles. He went to the one person who'd already been to hell and back. Illyana Rasputin. Magic. Queen of Limbo. Soul-scarred. Fire-forged. "You want me to pull a god out of hell?" she asked, leaning on her blade. "No," Logan growled. "I want you to pull a brother out." She didn't even blink. "When do we start?" Together. They carved a path through realms mortals weren't meant to see. Not portals. Wounds, torn through reality with the soul's word. The journey was brutal. They crossed through bloodstorms, flame oceans, fields of whispers that tried to turn memory into madness. But Logan held on to one truth. Thor was in there. Not just possessed. Not just trapped. Still fighting. And in the deepest layer, beneath the fire, beneath the chains, beneath Mephisto's throne, they found him. Not standing. Not screaming. Kneeling. Holding a burned version of Mjolnir, wrapped in red-hot chains. Whispering Loki's name through bloodied lips. Illyana raised her sword. Mephisto appeared. Not in flesh, in laughter. "Ah, the runt and the witch," the demon sneered. "Tell me, how do you plan to steal something that wants to stay?" Logan didn't respond. He just walked forward, step by step, through flame and smoke, until he stood face to face with Thor's broken soul. "You ain't done yet," Logan growled. Thor didn't look up. "I broke the realms." "No," Logan said, grabbing the hammer. "You saved them. Now get the hell up." The hammer burned him. The chains sliced him. But Logan didn't let go. Because for 1 second, just one, Thor looked him in the eye and remembered. The scream that followed wasn't pain. It wasn't rage. It was defiance. Thor stood. Mjolnir pulsed. The chains cracked. And Mephisto finally stepped back. "You've made a mistake," the devil snarled. Thor raised the shattered hammer and whispered, "No, you did. You let me remember." The soul storm erupted. Flame met lightning. Sin met storm. Logan dragged Thor through the collapsing prison as magic sliced open the final gate with everything she had. Her blade cracked in the process, shattering into sparks. But it was enough. They returned to Earth through blood, through magic, through vengeance. And for the first time in weeks, Thor breathed. Real air, real wind, real sky. But the body wasn't waiting. Ghost Rider still had control. And he was no longer judging. He was recruiting. Back in the mortal world, the 7 spears had reached their targets. Not to kill them, to mark them. Carol Danvers, Steve Rogers, Stephen Strange, Wanda Maximoff, Chala, Peter Parker, and Bruce Banner. Each one chosen, not for evil, not for betrayal, but for guilt. Their worst moments began to surface. Not just memories, hauntings, visions, echoes of people they failed, civilians lost, friends turned enemies, lives shattered in their name. They didn't run, they didn't hide, they confessed. Each one began to question themselves. And the moment they did, Ghost Rider Thor appeared behind them, not to destroy, to ask them, "Do you still believe you're a hero?" That was Mephisto's plan, not to burn the world, to make the heroes destroy themselves. Because he didn't need fire to win. He needed doubt. But he didn't count on one thing: Thor's soul restored. Now inside the same body, the fusion had cracked. 2 wills, 2 powers, 1 god, 1 rider. Inside that flaming vessel, a war began, between vengeance and worthiness. Thor didn't try to expel the Ghost Rider. He didn't scream or lash out. He did something worse. He forgave. The rider flinched. Forgiveness is poison to vengeance. The body began to twitch. The flame faltered. Mjolnir glowed white-hot, neither gold nor red. Chains started hissing, and in the sky a storm formed, not of rain, but of judgment colliding with mercy. For the first time in history, the Ghost Rider's flames began to turn blue. Strange saw it first and gasped. "Mercy, fire," he whispered. "He's changing the Rider. Not killing it, redeeming it." But Mephisto wasn't done. Not yet. He reached into reality and did what only a devil would dare. He opened the gates of hell. Not metaphorical, not magical, the real ones. And from them came the forgotten, the cursed, the damned versions of every Avenger who ever fell. Zombified Tony, corrupted Cap, a Scarlet Witch who lost control, an Iron Man who sided with Ultron, an alternate Hulk who destroyed Earth 616, each one wearing their sins like armor, a legion of the damned, and they were heading straight for Earth. But above them all, high in the sky, stood Thor, burning with fire, crackling with storm, one eye golden, one eye red, the first ever fusion of wrath and worth. And behind him, the last words of Loki echoed from the soul prison. "What makes you a god isn't power, it's restraint." Thor raised Mjolnir and whispered to the approaching horde, "Then let me show you what it means to hold back nothing." The sky split wide. From one side, the damned, twisted echoes of Avengers across shattered timelines, each one forged by failure, each one wearing their greatest regret like armor. From the other, Thor reborn, a fusion of God and Ghost Rider, wielding fire not as punishment, but as redemption. Mjolnir no longer dragged chains, it commanded them. And in the center of it all, Mephisto laughing. "You think merging mercy with vengeance makes you stronger," he roared. "No," Thor said calmly. "It makes me free." The first impact wasn't thunder. It was truth. Thor rocketed through the air and shattered the zombified Hulk's skull in one blow. The flames didn't burn, they cleansed. The Gamma Curse screamed as it left his body, Cap's corrupted variant through the shield. But Mjolnir intercepted midair, split the vibranium into pieces, then reformed it, carving a new emblem across the sky, a burning sigil of worthiness. Carol Danvers, the real one, led the charge behind Thor. Wanda followed, hex magic wrapped in stormlight. Chala, Strange, and Peter all answered Thor's call. Even Bruce, shaking but determined, joined, not as Hulk, but as Banner. This wasn't just a fight. This was atonement. Mephisto grew desperate. He summoned sins from the depths of every hero's mind. Flashes, ghosts, mistakes, regrets. Tony dying alone, Natasha on Vormer, Wanda losing control. But Thor stood in front of them all, not as a shield, as a mirror. He let them see their guilt, and still called them worthy. Chains erupted from his arms, alive, divine, pure. Not instruments of torture, but of justice tempered with mercy. They wrapped the damned variants, not to destroy, but to purge. As each soul touched the blue flame, it screamed, then healed. One by one, Mephisto's army began to vanish, not in death, but in release. He hadn't brought an army of monsters. He'd brought victims, and Thor forgave them all. Mephisto panicked. He tore into reality, trying to drag the battlefield into hell. But Thor raised Mjolnir, now glowing pure white, lightning, fire, and soul entwined. And he slammed it down. The blast didn't just break the ground. It broke the contract. Every soul Mephisto ever bound freed. The demon screamed, not in pain, in fear, because for the first time in eternity, he was alone. "No chains left to hold me," he spat. "Then strike me down, Odinson. Finish it." But Thor didn't raise the hammer. He turned his back. "I don't need to destroy you," he said. "You've already lost everything you ever fed on. Fear, guilt, shame." He looked to the sky. The sun broke through the clouds. And those things don't rule us anymore. The battlefield faded. The flames cooled. The Ghost Rider spirit, flickering in Thor's eye, slowly faded but didn't vanish. It settled. No longer in control. Now in balance. Weeks later, the world tried to return to normal. But the Avengers weren't the same. They didn't rebuild to look strong. They rebuilt to be honest. Wolverine stood next to Strange in a quiet ceremony. No words, just a glance of respect. Carol started training young heroes again. Wanda smiled for the first time in months. And Thor? He stood alone on a mountain with Mjolnir beside him, the chains still wrapped around the handle, but no longer binding, now simply there, a reminder that even gods carry guilt, and even vengeance can be forgiven. The end.